But, Coach, let's get back to the real meaning here. It's a 9 o'clock start here when you have the Bucks and the Pacers at 6:30. Please make it make sense. Does the NBA not want to watch this game that's going to be tonight? By the way, we called this series out from the beginning, even though right now the Knicks have the upper hand and can close it out tonight. Every game has been competitive and competitive with absolute nonsense going on down the stretch, and I expect nothing less than that to happen tonight. So if we are looking at the game tonight, that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern. The Sixers are a favorite here. The FanDuel Sportsbook opened at a 4.5-point favorite towards the Sixers, down to 3, and look at that total. 200.5. JY, Philadelphia, Game 6 on the line. What happens tonight?
Well, first things first, Donnie, while you'll be in bed by 7:30 p.m., the Xfinity Center down this block for Wells Fargo is going to be rocking. People are going to Chicky and Pete's, get a beer and some crab fries. I do know like Chicky and Pete's. It's very good crab fries, by the way. But anyway, when you get to the game, to me, it's about a couple of things. For the Knicks, what kind of start did they get off to? They've gotten to extremely poor starts. There's been talk up here about, do you start Deuce McBride, who's played much better than Dante DiVincenzo? Number 2 for New York, what do you do with the substitution, particularly of Brunson and Hart? They seem to be fading down the stretch. I think you will see actually McBride and DiVincenzo play a little bit together in the backcourt. Their offensive rating's actually been pretty good together, although those are the minutes that Joel Embiid is out. That takes me to Embiid. How do you do your breaks for Joel Embiid? Because the Sixers, with him on the floor and then with him off the floor, are markedly different. How does Nick Nurse use his timeouts to maximize rest for Embiid, but not gain rest, meaning minutes off the floor? And then also, Tobias Harris was much better to start game number 5. This is the guy to Philadelphia we talked about before game 5. They want to run this guy out of town. He got off to a good start, and they're going to need his production because I do not think Tibbs is going to allow Maxey to get 46, and I'm concerned about the health of Joel Embiid.
So the scouting report from JY, those are the keys, those are the adjustments for game number 6. Now time for a prediction. Is the series over tonight in Philadelphia with the Knicks winning this opening round set, or will we go back to Madison Square Garden for a winner-take-all game 7 on Saturday night?
Ben, I started before this series saying Knicks in 6. I'm holding to it. Knicks in 6. They get a much better game from their team, and I'm concerned that I don't know if Joel Embiid makes it all the way to the finish line. Knicks win by about 7 or 8 points tonight.
A lot of tired legs, more than likely, for guys that played 50-plus minutes just 2 nights ago inside Madison Square Garden. The Knicks plus 130 on the money line at this moment. And as we shared, that total 200 and a hook. But it's the nightcap in Philadelphia. Game number 1 of the doubleheader in Indianapolis. Can the Pacers close out the Bucks? Find out next. A doubleheader of Game 6s tonight in the NBA, where both spots are a potential closeout. The New York Knicks up 3-2 on the road in Philly. Indiana returns home to game number 6 against the Bucks. Of course, the Pacers had an opportunity earlier this week to close out Milwaukee in game 5, as the Bucks did not have Giannis nor Dame. That is the expectation as of right now for game number 6. So JY, who is here for a 3rd consecutive segment, 8.5-point spread. Now in favor of the Pacers back at home in Indy, total at 214. Is this the time? Do the Pacers finish this series against Milwaukee tonight?
I think so. I just thought they got great performances, Milwaukee, particularly Bobby Portis. Remember, folks, Bobby Portis did get thrown out, I do believe, of game number 4 of the series very early on in the game. So Bobby Portis is actually fantastic, 29 and 12. Middleton with another double-double. Maybe look at that market again for Middleton for a double-double, because one thing's for sure, Brook Lopez and double-doubles, they just do not happen. So make sure you take a look at that, folks. But I think you'll just get a better performance out of Indiana. They should be able to play with more pace at home. Siakam, who had been great this entire series, was not good, a minus 18 in game number 5. I expect him to be better. Halliburton's got himself going a little bit. I expect a bigger game out of Miles Turner. Miles Turner, who had a great game in game number 4. I think Indiana gets the job done. And here's the thing, folks. It's very simple. If you like the Pacers, play the over. If you like the Bucks, play the under because they correlate with each other. Milwaukee needs to slow the game down and play the game in half court. I think Indiana's going to run the ball up the court. Remember, folks, they go over this number. I think every game but 4 or 5, the entirety of the season, home games, they go over this number. So I'm going to play with pace. I like Indiana to win. I like Indiana to cover. And I like Indiana game to go over tonight.
It's disappointed last game, Coach, out of the Pacers. You see that first quarter, 31-23. You should have had a dead team beat at that point, but you let them get back into it. 30-17, they won the second quarter, talking about the Bucks, and then 34-19 in the third quarter. It almost felt to me like after that first quarter, the Pacers like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. We're going home for game 6. So talk about the pressure on the Pacers, because all we keep hearing is we're seeing Giannis and also Dame get closer and closer to returning. Is that pressure could be too much of a buildup where the Pacers look like they said, don't worry about the last game. Game 6 is our building. We'll handle it. Close to double-digit favorites here. Talk about the pressure that might be on the Pacers early to establish themselves knowing, look, we can't go to a game 7 here and risk it.
Well, Donnie, more than anything, to be quite honest with you, is the hardest game to win is the last one. That's always the toughest one to win in a series because the other team's backs are against the wall. But if you kind of look at it, guys, if you look at, I think it was game number 3 or 4, it was also a huge lead for Indiana after the first quarter, 18 points, and they blew it. This is a team that, because of their defensive inabilities, are going to give up swings and runs. It's just a matter of can they punch back when the run happens. And we're able to do so and almost blew that game 4. I think they'll do a better job of game 6 because it's in their home building. So there's a way that you could play this game multiple times, and maybe this is a big lead after 1, and maybe the Bucks do make this a game. But I still expect Indiana and Rick Carlisle to continue to play with pace for 48 minutes to try and drive this thing home and get themselves to the next round.
JY is spot on. Indiana's 3 wins in this series. The total has gone to the over. The Pacers have scored at least 120 points in all 3 victories. Sure, game 3 needed overtime to get us the game total over and Indiana into the 120s. But that is Pacers basketball, living up to their name and playing with that fast tempo and the advanced pace. I will say something that stands out to me when you look at those series odds. Again, Indiana, big favorite tonight, 8.5-point home favorite to win this game outright. It's around a minus 340 price on the money line. But in 7, the Bucks in 7 is a shorter number than the Pacers in 7. If the game were to go back to the Pfizer Forum on Saturday, would that allow more of a time for Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard to return? Would they be there? Just follow what the odds makers are saying.